Nobody owes you a thing. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can step into your power. Too many people walk around waiting for a break, waiting for someone to believe in them, waiting for an opportunity to fall into their lap. Let me tell you something. If you spend your life waiting, you'll be waiting forever. The world doesn't hand out success, and it sure as hell doesn't feel sorry for you. It rewards those who take action, who refuse to make excuses, and who are willing to do what most people won't. If you want to create something extraordinary in your life, you have to own your path. That means taking full responsibility for where you are right now, not blaming your circumstances, not pointing fingers, not playing the victim. I know that's tough to hear, but it's the truth. Look around. There are people out there who have had it worse than you, who have faced more adversity, who have started with less, and yet they found a way. They refuse to let their past define them. They refuse to accept anything less than their full potential. Why? Because they understood something powerful. Success isn't about what happens to you. It's about how you respond. Life is going to hit you. It's going to test you. You're going to face rejection, failure, disappointment. That's part of the process. But if you're serious about creating the life you want, you need to stop looking for an easy way out. Stop looking for someone to come rescue you. No one is coming. The only person who can change your life is you. And that's not a bad thing. That's freedom. That means you don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to rely on someone else's validation. You don't have to sit around hoping that someday things will just work out. You make them work out. You wake up every day and decide that no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, you're going to keep pushing forward. But here's the catch. Most people don't want to hear this. Most people want to believe that success is about luck, that it's about knowing the right people, that it's about being born into the right circumstances. They want to believe that the people at the top just had it easier. Because if that were true, it would mean they're not responsible for their own lack of progress. It would give them an excuse to stay where they are. But that's not you. You're here because you're ready to own your path. You're ready to stop making excuses. You're ready to take the wheel and drive your own damn life. And that starts with a decision to stop waiting, stop hoping, and start doing. Nobody is coming to give you the life you want. But that's the best news you could ever hear, because it means you can create it for yourself. It means your future is entirely in your hands. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Most people live their lives distracted. They chase instant gratification, scrolling through social media, binge watching TV, jumping from one thing to the next, never fully committing to anything, and then they wonder why they're not making progress. They wonder why success feels like something that's always just out of reach. Let me tell you why. Because they've never truly focused. Focus is power. When you direct all your energy, all your time, all your effort into a single purpose, you become unstoppable. But most people never do that. They spread themselves too thin, trying to do a little bit of everything, dabbling instead of mastering, starting but never finishing. And then they convince themselves that success is impossible, that maybe they're just not lucky, that maybe it's not meant for them. But that's not the truth. The truth is, they never gave it everything. You've got to make a decision about what you want in life. And once you do, you have to go all in. That means cutting out distractions, eliminating everything that isn't moving you forward, and developing laser-sharp focus on what actually matters. And that's not easy, because the world is designed to pull you in a million different directions. It's designed to keep you distracted, to keep you comfortable, to keep you entertained, but not fulfilled. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal, started strong, and then found yourself slipping back into old habits? You told yourself you were going to get in shape, but then you skipped the gym because you were too tired. You said you were going to start that business, but then you got caught up in watching Netflix every night. You promised yourself you'd work on your personal growth, but then you let social media, gossip, and other people's drama take over your mind. That's the battle. Success doesn't just require effort, it requires discipline. And discipline is about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's about choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. It's about staying locked in on your goals even when life gets tough, even when distractions are tempting, even when you feel like quitting. Because here's the truth, there will always be an excuse. There will always be a reason to put things off. There will always be something easier, more comfortable, more entertaining. But every time you give in to that, you're choosing to stay where you are. And if you want more, if you want to grow, if you want to achieve, if you want to become the person you were meant to be, you have to rise above that. You have to get focused and stay focused. The people who make it to the top, they aren't the smartest. They aren't the luckiest. They aren't the most talented. They're the ones who stayed locked in when others got distracted. They're the ones who kept pushing forward when others gave up. They're the ones who committed to mastery, to excellence, to winning. So ask yourself, where is your focus right now? Are you giving everything you've got to the life you want? Or are you letting distractions pull you away from your potential? Because at the end of the day, you either control your focus or your focus controls you. Which one is it going to be? Most people wait for motivation to take action. They sit around hoping they'll wake up one day and feel ready. They tell themselves, when the time is right, I'll start that business. When I have more energy, I'll hit the gym. When I'm less stressed, I'll finally go after my dreams. But that's not how life works. The time is never right. The perfect moment never comes. And if you keep waiting, you'll be stuck in the same place a year from now, 5 years from now, maybe even for the rest of your life. Let me tell you something. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. People have it backward. They think they need to feel inspired before they can get moving. But that's a lie your brain tells you to keep you comfortable. Your mind is wired for survival, not success. It's designed to keep you safe, and that means avoiding discomfort, avoiding effort, avoiding anything that feels risky. But success, growth, becoming the best version of yourself, that requires discomfort. It requires effort. It requires risk. You can't wait to feel ready. You have to move before you feel like moving. You have to take that first step before the motivation kicks in. And once you do, once you push through that resistance, you'll realize something. Momentum is powerful. The hardest part is always getting started. But once you're in motion, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your mindset shifts, your belief in yourself starts to grow. Think about it like this. Have you ever had a day where you didn't feel like working out, but you forced yourself to go to the gym anyway? At first it was a struggle. You had to drag yourself there. But once you started moving, something switched. You got into it, you felt stronger, and by the end of it, you were glad you did it. That's how action works. You do the thing, and then the energy follows. But if you sit around waiting for the energy first, you'll never do the thing. This applies to every area of your life. You don't feel confident, take action anyway, and confidence will follow. You don't feel inspired, take action anyway, and inspiration will follow. You don't feel like you have what it takes, take action anyway, and you'll prove to yourself that you do. Most people never reach their potential because they keep waiting for the right mood, the right feeling, the right circumstances. But the people who succeed, they act in spite of how they feel. They train their minds to move first, to push through resistance, to do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. And over time, that habit of taking action transforms them. It builds resilience. It builds confidence. It builds results. So stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Stop looking for excuses. Take action now, no matter how small, and watch how everything starts to shift. Because once you learn to move before you feel ready, you become unstoppable. Most people don't realize that the quality of their lives is directly linked to the standards they set for themselves. We all have standards, whether we recognize them or not. They dictate how we show up, how we work, how we take care of ourselves, and even how we allow others to treat us. But the difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is simple. Successful people refuse to settle for less than they are capable of. Think about it. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants a great body, financial freedom, meaningful relationships. But very few people are committed to those things. There's a massive difference between wanting something and being committed to it. When you just want something, you'll go after it if it's convenient. You'll put in effort when you feel like it. You'll push yourself until it gets uncomfortable. But when you're committed, that's a whole different game. When you're committed, you do what it takes, no matter what. You raise your standards. You demand more from yourself. You stop making excuses and start making progress. Raising your standards isn't about wanting more. It's about expecting more from yourself. It's about deciding that the old version of you is no longer acceptable. It's about refusing to tolerate mediocrity in any area of your life. That's when change happens. Not when you wish for it, but when you demand it from yourself. Take a look at your life right now. What are you tolerating? What habits, behaviors, or patterns have you accepted as just the way things are? Maybe it's how you treat your body, skipping workouts, eating whatever is convenient, telling yourself you'll get in shape someday. Maybe it's how you handle your career, showing up just enough to get by, complaining about your circumstances, but never making a real change. Maybe it's your relationships, allowing negativity, accepting disrespect, staying in situations that don't serve you because it's easier than walking away. The truth is, your life right now is a reflection of the standards you've been willing to accept. And if you want more, you have to demand more. You have to set a new baseline for what's acceptable. Because once you raise your standards, your entire life begins to shift. Think about people who are in incredible shape. It's not just about discipline or motivation. It's about their standards. They don't see working out as optional. They don't treat eating healthy as a temporary phase. It's just who they are. Their standard for health is so high that anything less is unacceptable. The same is true for wealth. Some people live paycheck to paycheck, always stressed about money because that's what they've accepted as normal. But others refuse to accept financial struggle as their reality. They raise their standards. They commit to learning, growing, and taking action. And because of that, they create financial freedom. So ask yourself, what standards have you been living by? What would happen if you decided right now that you would no longer settle for less than you're capable of? Because the moment you truly commit, everything changes. It's not about hoping, it's not about wishing, it's about deciding this is who I am now. And when you make that decision, when you refuse to go back to your old ways, you become unstoppable. Every one of us has two choices in life. We can wait for someone to give us permission, or we can take control and make things happen. And if you look at the people who have truly built something great, whether it's in business, in relationships, in their personal growth, you'll notice one common thread. They never waited. They took ownership of their destiny. They made the tough decisions. They did what needed to be done, even when nobody was watching. Most people want success, but they struggle because they're waiting for something external to push them forward. They wait for the perfect time. They wait for the right opportunity. They wait for motivation to strike. But here's the truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I think I'll make your dreams happen today. That's your job. Ownership means you stop pointing fingers. It means you stop blaming the economy, your upbringing, your past mistakes, or anything else outside of yourself. Because as long as you see your life as something happening to you instead of something happening because of you, you'll stay stuck. Now, that doesn't mean life is always fair. It doesn't mean you won't face challenges, setbacks, or things outside your control. But what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck is their mindset. Because no matter what happens, you always have a choice. You can focus on what you can't do, or you can focus on what you can do. You can complain about the obstacles in your way, or you can find a way through them. I've seen people rise from absolute rock bottom. people who had no connections, no resources, no support, but they made a decision. They took full ownership of their lives, and because of that, they created something extraordinary. On the other hand, I've also seen people with all the talent, all the advantages, and yet they never go anywhere because they refuse to take responsibility. They wait for conditions to be perfect, and in that waiting, years of potential are wasted. So I ask you, where in your life are you waiting? Where are you holding yourself back because you're hoping something or someone else will come along and change things for you? Be honest with yourself, because that's the first step, acknowledging that you are in control. Once you do that, you become unstoppable. When you stop waiting and start taking action, you start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start creating momentum, and with enough momentum, nothing can hold you back. Success is not about luck. It's not about hoping. It's about taking full, relentless ownership of your life. Every decision, every mistake, every victory, because when you own your life completely, you gain the power to change it. And that is when everything shifts. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to believe in them, waiting for life to somehow change. But the truth is, if you're waiting, you're losing. The people who succeed at the highest level, the ones who build something meaningful, aren't waiting. They're out there making things happen, even when no one is watching, even when no one is cheering them on. They understand something that separates them from the rest. Progress doesn't come from external validation. It comes from relentless internal commitment. Look, we all want recognition. We all want to be appreciated for our efforts. But if you need applause to keep going, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because in the real world, nobody cares how hard you're trying. Nobody is sitting around tracking your progress, making sure you stay motivated. That's your responsibility. The moment you make your success dependent on external approval, you give away your power. You let other people dictate what you're capable of. And that's a losing game. You have to be the one who sets the standard. You have to be the one who holds yourself accountable. And that means working hard when no one notices. It means staying focused when distractions are pulling you in 100 directions. It means building yourself up even when no one else is clapping for you. Because if you rely on the outside world to fuel your drive, you'll always be at its mercy. The strongest, most successful people in the world are the ones who commit to the process, regardless of the recognition. They put in the work when it's inconvenient. They push through when motivation is gone. They get up early, they stay late, and they don't make excuses. Not because someone is watching, not because someone is rewarding them, but because they've decided that this is who they are. So let me ask you, what are you building when nobody's looking? Are you putting in the work when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it feels like nobody cares? Or are you waiting for the world to notice you before you go all in? Because I'll tell you this, if you only work hard when people are paying attention, you'll never reach your full potential. Greatness isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the quiet, unglamorous moments when nobody is watching. It's built in the consistency, the discipline, the refusal to quit when it would be easy to stop. The world will take notice after you've put in the work, not before. So stop waiting. Stop looking for permission, for recognition, for someone to push you forward. Be your own driving force. Be the person who doesn't need applause to keep going. Because when you commit at that level, when you show up day after day without excuses, without hesitation, you become unstoppable. And when that happens, when you've built yourself into something undeniable, then the world will have no choice but to notice. But by then, you won't even need their recognition because you'll already know what you're capable of.